Hello, welcome to McBoss Capital channel. My name is Michael Chu. This is market recap video for the week ending February 14, 2025. Here we have the Nasdaq composite chart. You can see that the market actually did pretty well this week. We have 2 days of tightness here, and we then hit on Wednesday a low here, but it rebounded throughout the day, and then it closed near the short-term moving average. And then on Thursday, it was able to bounce from there, from the short-term moving average, and then on Friday we have a little follow through day, and now we're sitting near the 20,000 mark, 20,026. So we had two pullbacks so far. One pullback right here, then we bounce, and then we have another couple of weeks pullback here, and then we bounce. So far the bounce has been pretty good because we have a higher lows here, right? And right now, if we break to new highs, then we will have momentum coming out of the consolidation here. Here you can see S&P also had two pullbacks here. Again, the second pullback looks tighter. Again, we also near new high. On the daily chart, you can see we are just sitting near the highs, very close to 6114 versus 6128. So we do break out. We do expect more momentum will follow. So for Dow, it hasn't bounced as strong as the other two index that we saw. And also it's hasn't come back to 45,000 yet, but that's near the previous highs. So yeah, so Dow stocks is not as strong. We'll see how this plays out. But it is nonetheless, not too far from the high, right? It's not as close as the other two index, but it still looks okay. Like, it's above the red line, which is the 10 weeks moving average, and yeah, and it's far from the lows here. So overall, it's still a healthy pattern from the weekly chart perspective. On the Russell, we are finding some resistance here on the red line, which is the 10-week moving average. You can see it's been closing near that level every week, but the line here is actually coming down, like a downtrend line. So far, the good thing is we did find support on the higher lows here. So the higher lows right here, then this one. But we also see lots of resistance near the red line, which is the day moving average. So lots of resistance here, and also this line is coming down right now, down sloping, which means we kind of on a downtrend until we can, pass through this line and maybe hold there. So this is equal weight Nasdaq 100. The difference about this chart is it's clearly in an uptrend right now, right? And also it broke out to new highs. So the equal weight is breaking out to new highs before the Nasdaq 100. Looking at it from a weekly perspective, again, we have this huge base here, and we are making new high right now. So this is looking very good. I mean, this one has been not moving too much for a long time. But this base looks pretty good, very healthy. We keep making higher lows on the lows here, and the slope is pretty strong as well. So we do expect this momentum to continue. Let's see how that goes. The RSP is the equal weight S&P 500. So it did move slightly higher from the low here. You can see this is also forming a cup with handle pattern. The handle around 183. We are still a little bit away from that. So this one is okay. It looks like the other regular index. It's not as strong as the equal weight Nasdaq. Looking at the IBD 50 ETF here, this is also a breakout right here this week on Thursday, and it also followed through on Friday. So the slope is actually pretty strong right now. So we'll see how whether this will pull back to the 10-day moving average. But what this signals is the growth stocks may have a chance here to continue to the momentum. On the weekly chart, we have this base and base pattern, and then we climb up a little bit right here, and then we form another base here. And right now, this breakout looks pretty strong so far from a price perspective. Probably the most impressive thing this week is just how the market has been ignoring economic data that are harder than expected. For example, CPI right here was hot, right? Readings up more than expected. Yearly gains also ticking upward. So here's the CPI and core CPI for January, much higher than previous months. And then you also have the regular CPI also moving up. and the core CPI also moving up slightly. We also have the producer price index rose 0.4%, which is above the 0.3% rise. And then the wholesale price also gained 3.5%, also higher than expectations. And then on Friday, we also have retail sales fell 0.9% in January, which is the biggest Monday drop in a year. It was expecting a 0.1% fall. So this is a sign of possible weakening consumer. So sales also slipped, excluding auto, sales also slipped 0.4%, while it was expected 0.3% expansion. So again, both numbers are pretty negative, but yet the market kind of ignore all this negative news, which is a positive for the market. So we'll continue to see um, how the market move forward, but it looks so far it's been acting very strong despite all this news. So Monday is President's Day, so the market is not open. The Empire State Manufacturing Survey drops Tuesday. There will be also house reading, housing start permits data due on Tuesday. And then we have the minutes from the January FOMC meeting on Wednesday. We have the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Survey on Friday, and also existing home sales number on Friday. And then we're going to have more earnings coming out from Walmart, Melly, Booking, Garmin, CBNA, Cargill, Alibaba, NTES, Whips. We also have medical stocks, GMET, GH, MDT, Telecom, DDS, USM, ANET, and OXY, and probably more. So this is from IBD 50 newspaper. We're looking at the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline daily line right here. As you can see, we have been going sideways for a while, whereas the S&P it's almost near new high as we discussed earlier. So I mean it's okay. It's just going sideways. We'll see if this can break out, and we want to see more broad-based strength as well. For Nasdaq, very similar pattern, right? We near the new high as well. This one looks slightly weaker on the advanced decline line on Nasdaq, but you know it could also power up really strong if it breaks out. So I think that will be the strongest signal if we can get a nice move here, um, especially if the index make new high and we see a broad base advanced decline line goes higher. That will be really it gives us more confidence that this market rally could continue. Here's the 10-year yield. You can see it fell pretty hard on after Wednesday. So Wednesday, it was probably after the news from the Trump administration about reciprocal tariffs, and then after that it fell on Thursday and Friday, um, and the CPI data on Wednesday. Yeah, CPI data on Wednesday. So that's what was so yeah. So Monday was the announcement of the tariffs, and then Wednesday we had the CPI data. It jumps up on the CPI data, but then it fell back very quickly. The US dollar also fell as well. You can see here making new lows here, very close to testing the previous low 29.12, actually sitting exactly at that level. So we'll see if we can find support here. But yeah, the dollar being weak, you know, help on US in some ways. So, but let's see what happens here. Definitely looks like this is starting to trend down on the 50-day moving average. So yeah, the Treasury yield could find support as well. We'll see. And then we have the US oil also have been dropping as well. Right now we're also coming to the long-term moving average, which is the black line. So again, same thing. We could see a bounce here. We'll see what happens. Again, this correlate pretty well with the US dollar. With all the earnings news and stuff, it seems like the semiconductor area hasn't done much, right? Like this has been just going mostly sideways. I mean, it drift upward a little bit on Friday, but really it's so minuscule that it really doesn't show much on the chart. So we are still in a sideways pattern. Um, you know, I don't know if it's good or bad. Volume's really low as well, but it's really doing not much. So you know, I wouldn't jump too much into it, like you know. But let's look at Nvidia for a second. It did make a move on Friday. So we have this initial move, then we kind of pull back to the 10-day and 21-day moving average, and then we bounce above the red line. And so I did take a position, but we're still below the downtrend line right here. But we'll see what happens here. It is reporting in 11 days. But yeah, surprisingly, this is acting well, Nvidia, after such a prolonged, you know, failed breakouts right here. multiple times. We hit a new low here in recent months, and then we now coming back to the trend line. Like I said, Friday's this last pullback was very healthy. It was able to bounce off the recent moving average, and so we have officially an uptrend that is pretty strong slope as well. So we'll see what happens here. On the software side, we are also kind of in a sideways pattern right now. So you can see that's we did come up from this recent one, but then it pulled back right away. But maybe this time it will work. We'll see. Yeah, so we could break out to this new high zone here. It's possible. So looking at the mega caps, Microsoft here is still trending downward. So hasn't come back up yet. See if selling will be exhausted or not. I noticed this last 3 days it was able to close at the highs of the daily range, so that might be positive. Google is also on the downtrend line as well, as you see here. It is also trading pretty tight in the last 3 days, but most important is coming back above the short-term moving average. So let's see if that will happen soon. Amazon, same thing here. They're all on downtrend right now. Also trading really tight. We'll see if it holds the red line here, which is 50 days moving average. And Meta is the talk of the town right now. It's really doing really well. Like this is a record. How many days being up? I don't know. I lost count. It's probably like 18 or something. But it's doing really well. There's lots of volume also. Yeah. Apple seems to be bouncing. Had a really good week. Lots of announcements. I believe they're partnering with Baba on the AI stuff, and also probably other AI companies as well to do more AI related services. So that seems to help Apple, and at least in China, they could continue to sell the Apple phones and stuff, and be able to still be in that market, because despite the Chinese probing into their app store and all that stuff, so hopefully yeah, it looks good. Like looks like it's turning around. It also broke the trend line. So yeah, it looks really good. So Tesla seems to be bouncing right now. Again, it's still below the trend line right here, the green line. Might be a little bit too early to say whether this downtrend is over yet. The slope is still very strong. So we'll see if we can pass back at least through the 10-day and maybe even the 21-day, which is just slightly above it. And finally, we'll talk about Netflix. This one has been it broke out, gap up on earnings, and it did go sideways after that, and pretty tight action too. Here's your first bounce near the 10-day, and then recently we have the second bounce right there. Right now it seems to be accelerating, very strong slope right now. So it could hit the 20% profit zone here at this rate. So yeah, we'll be doing another video on the top growth stocks list. Make sure you subscribe and follow that. Also, I just want to mention we do have some live streams going in the morning around 8:15 Mountain Time, or also like 10:15 Eastern Time, somewhere around that time usually. So yeah, if you want to follow that as well, just go to the live stream channel and go to the live stream. It'll probably show up right away if you go to the channel, and then you can get notified on when it goes live. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and see you next week.